Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I would like to continue on with my responses to Patreon members' favorite films lists. So I have a Patreon page, and if you're interested, the link is in the description box. So I welcome anyone who might be interested. If not, that's completely okay, not a problem at all. But and also for Patreon members. I have invited people to submit to me their favorite films lists, and I am here to respond and react to them. Yes, I set up a video on the Patreon page, and I asked people to submit comments there so I could respond to the comments. But some people also sent me private messages on the Patreon platform as well. So I'm going to respond to those as well. So I don't want to read out all the comments from private messages, of course, but I will respond to the lists that were provided to me by people who sent me these DMs on Patreon. And one of them is Dominic Felice. So hello, Dominic. Thank you very much for your list. I know it's been a while, so I apologize, but let me respond to it in kind right now, if I may. I won't read out any of the comments that you and I shared privately, but let me respond to the list that you provided, very kindly provided here. And the list is, you said, top 25 films in no order. Harakiri, Rio Bravo, Mirror, Seven Samurai, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, My Neighbor Totoro, Good Will Hunting, Dr. Strangelove, the Before Trilogy, and you cite the entire trilogy. You say, I couldn't pick just one. That's what you say. Do the Right Thing, Ghost Dog, Lars and the Real Girl, Asteroid City, Apocalypse Now, Scenes from a Marriage, Dog Day Afternoon, No Country for Old Men, Eraserhead, Taste of Cherry, The Trial, A Brighter Summer Day, Mon Oncle, Lola, My Dinner with Andre, and The Birdcage. Oh, very interesting. So thank you very much for submitting this. You say it's your top 25, or it was at the time of your submission. So thank you very much for this. Really, really cool. Let's see. Again, so I can't. I'll try to speak to as many of these as possible. If I don't know if I can talk about all of them, but I'll try within this scope of this video. So let's see here. Where shall I begin? So I'm very pleased. A Brighter Summer Day is one of my personal favorites as well. So, and I've spoken a lot about this film, A Brighter Summer Day, so I'm glad to see it appear on your list. I know it's appeared on some other Patreon members' lists as well. So, this is very heartwarming for me indeed as a fellow cinema lover. So, thank you so much for having a list that includes this great film. Also, I've spoken about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly a little bit. I'm a big fan of this film. I love this film. My dad loved this film when he was alive. And so I think part of my love for this film comes from the fact that my dad loved this film very much. So which I've also spoken about a little bit over the course of this channel. So, but that was really good. Good choice. Good Will Hunting. I saw Good Will Hunting in the theater when it was first. Excuse me. It's a bit hot today in Los Angeles. So let me turn on my air conditioner here. Good Will Hunting was something that I saw in the theater. It was a big deal critically and award season when it was released. But it was a very moving film, Matt Damon and Robin Williams and Minnie Driver and others. I thought they sold the film. They brought it home really well, there are a lot of particular scenes that are really quite moving. Trying to get at the enigma and mystery that is Will Hunting through many scenes, both out and about and with friends, and also amongst the hallowed halls of university, and then of course within the intimate settings of sort of therapy sessions, etc. So it was a very moving experience seeing it in the theater upon its initial release. I know that you've mentioned Dog Day Afternoon, and I've mentioned Dog Day Afternoon has been mentioned quite a bit, actually. I'm very happy to see. Lumet, I've mentioned before, I'll say it again. I'm a huge fan of Sidney Lumet films. I mean, his filmography is vast, and so I've managed to see most of his films. There are a couple that have eluded me, but because of their relatively unavailable status, excuse me. But yes, I've seen most of his films. And it's a large body of filmography. But Dog Day Afternoon is one of the shining moments of this. Really is it's a funny film. It's tragic. I mean, it goes in like twists and turns galore. And it's this acting tour de force. John Cazale and Al Pacino, of course. So well done for mentioning that. And it comes during a period where, for many people, this is the period of peak Lumet. This period of the 1970s. It's a great choice. Let's see what else here. What else? Oh my gosh, My Dinner with Andre. I love My Dinner with Andre. This was one of the early films. I remember. I think it was in high school. One of my teachers showed this to me as being, this is a film that you should watch. And so I was fascinated by the setup. And it was unlike any type of film that I'd seen up to that point in time. It's a very very radical film in that way, but it's also very simple and so beautiful construction, and it's so absorbing as well. So I was so fortunate to be able to see that very early in my life. So I was fortunate to have teachers in high school who liked to show their students films. So I was very fortunate in that respect. Let's see. Scenes from Marriage. Scenes from Marriage that is a tough watch. I think as the older I get, the more difficult that work is for me to watch because of the way it carries itself out. I mean, I can't claim to be directly like the characters in that work, but there are certain episodes or certain investigations or inquiries that I think do potentially touch a very raw nerve. So make it very absorbing, and I think on purpose a very difficult watch. So, but I admire your selection of it here on your list here, Dominic. And let's see, maybe similarly too, the Before Trilogy. You say you hesitate to pick just one, and I understand your feeling here, because I think each film in the trilogy, I think, holds its own power very well. I've spoken about Before Sunrise and Before Sunset before. Let me speak about Before Midnight. I think that Before Midnight has a similar. I mean, I've off the comments that I just made about Scenes from a Marriage. I think going from Scenes from a Marriage to Before Midnight is its own. I think I do that on purpose. Because I think one can say something similar about Before Midnight. It is, in many ways, a very difficult watch in terms of its acerbic approach. And it's very, there are some things that are said that are very tough to listen to because they hit home with regard to these characters that we've known so well, or at least we think we know so well, based on our chance encounters with them in the two previous films. But to see them in a slightly similar setting, but also in a radically different setting as well, where their dialogue becomes like a battlefield. So I mean, it's really an incredible journey, and it's one that I think is, again, part of that cycle of maybe the life of a relationship. I mean, I don't know, maybe like relationships, depending on the type of relationships. I mean, there might be those that are relatively free of this type of friction, but then there might be other relationships that have quite a high degree of friction. And so, I think, I mean, again, I'm not directly like these characters, but I can definitely speak to moments in my own life where I can identify certain moments of friction and say various kinds of relationships that I might have found myself in over the course of my life. So I can kind of see these types of situations, and I can kind of see how they might I might become involved in their situation based on things that have happened maybe in my own life. So, and that also holds true for the other two films, Before Sunrise and Before Sunset. So, it was a great choice. Great choice. Do the Right Thing. Again, Do the Right Thing this is one of the most powerful and dynamic and such a brilliant film. One of the most brilliant films of the 20th century. And it was. I mean, Spike Lee. I came to the world of Spike Lee fairly early. I wasn't able to watch, say, Do the Right Thing in the theater, unfortunately. But my consciousness with Spike Lee works, I think, began to become quite I was quite present or lifted around the time of, in particular, around the time of the release of the film Malcolm X. And so Do the Right Thing was just, it was circa around the same, just prior, around the same time. But he had already left his mark on cinema in a very indelible way. And I remember, too, I took a great film, one of my first film classes in college was on Spike Lee, on Scorsese, New York films. And it was on the films of Scorsese and Woody Allen and Spike Lee. And so the Spike Lee unit that we studied, we talked about Do the Right Thing, and it was such a fantastic, mind-blowing, it was eye-opening to talk about this film, and with the students and the professor. So it was, I fell in love with the film classes. I think in no small part because of the enthusiasm that people had for the discussion of Do the Right Thing. So I have very fond memories of this on a personal level. I've spoken about Apocalypse Now to a certain degree also, and this also has appeared on a number of lists of other people, so I'm glad to see it on your list as well, my friend, Dominic. So well done for including it here. I would also pose a question to you, what I've posed to others. What do you have a particular version of the film that you prefer over the others? Or do you like, I mean, does it maybe you have no one version that you prefer over others? Maybe you like them all as a kind of maybe comprehensive whole experience. I'm not sure. I've also spoken about Seven Samurai, the Kurosawa film. It's quite a bit, I think, but for a good reason, because it's one of the most brilliant films ever made, in my view. And so it's a film I can't get over just how quickly it goes by. It really goes by quickly because it's just so exciting, and so you get absorbed in the film so much for reasons that I've tried to discuss elsewhere, and I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. It was one of the great theater-going experiences of my life to see Seven Samurai projected on the screen. It was during a screening that was held on college campus. It was so amazing. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Rio Bravo, Howard Hawks. I love Rio. Again, my dad loved westerns, and he loved John Wayne films. And Rio Bravo is definitely one of them. And just the setup is it's such a great setup, and it's I mean, it's funny, it's quirky, it's also very tense and suspenseful, and the character, Rio Bravo's, and I mean, maybe things can be said about Hawks and his films after this, which kind of go towards the latter part of his career, including like El Dorado and Rio Lobo, etc. But I mean, those are also really fascinating Western films in their own right. And Rio Bravo is definitely within that conversation, as you know. Rio Bravo is it's just it's like a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 12 out of 10, like 100 out of 10. It's every time. Harakiri. This is also one that I'm really grateful for. Did I mention this too? I think I mentioned this. I did see this. I was so fortunate to be able to see a print of this projected in a theater in New York. Kind of retrospective also, the works featuring Tatsuya Nakadai. And during one of the showings of Nakadai film, Tatsuya Nakadai was actually present, and he was there fielding questions in a Q&A. It was so cool. Such a cool experience to see Tatsuya Nakadai in person. It was like, and he's like this, I mean, amazing. And Harakiri, the film, I remember the theater experience in New York. This was, again, I mean, whatever it was, like 15, 20 years ago, maybe more. So I don't remember the exact date, unfortunately, but I remember it was a smallish theater, but it was packed, and the people were responding to it. They were laughing, and especially at the end of the film, it's such an intense ending. It's kind of just like, my goodness, it's just a jolt, and people were just like so into it, screaming, and that was amazing. So Harakiri, yeah. Oh gosh, this is such a great list. Ghost Dog. I've spoken about that as well. Yes, in the context of the Criterion Collection release. Yes, Mon Oncle. I haven't spoken about Mon Oncle and Lola. Jacques Demy, unfortunately, Jacques Tati or Jacques Demy. I should really speak more about that. Oh, Mon Oncle. I love Mon Oncle. I remember seeing that for the first time in college as well. And Jacques Demy films. I had a Jacques Demy and Lola and others. I had a Jacques Demy kind of period in my life where I tried to watch all of the films I could that were available at the time. This is before the great Criterion sets, but they were still somewhat available, so it was great. Oh, those were great times. The Birdcage too. I remember seeing that upon its initial release. So, Taste of Cherry to Kiarostami. I came kind of, well, not. I mean, the first film, Taste of Cherry, was a film that I saw during my Kiarostami journey, and it was truly breathtaking and remarkable, and also in its way mind bending, very very mind bending. And I like that because I don't. I'm always intrigued by what I know that whenever I watch Taste of Cherry, I know I have to sit down and I mean, right, it's an oft-used phrase, but it's definitely true here. Expect the unexpected, and it happens. So, oh gosh, let's see here. Wow, this is great. Dr. Strangelove. I don't know. I don't think I've spoken about. Have I, Dr. Strangelove, on this channel? I don't think I have, or maybe I haven't. I've just forgotten. I apologize. But Dr. Strangelove was. Again, I had a Kubrick kick in my life fairly early on. This was maybe pre-college, I think it was during high school. So I just watched as many Kubrick films as I could. And it was, I mean, right, there were those that were, and this was still, pre Eyes Wide Shut days still, but just around the time that Full Metal Jacket was released or afterwards, but pre Eyes Wide Shut, where I really got into Kubrick a lot. And so Dr. Strangelove was one of them. I think Dr. Strangelove for me was one that I need repeated viewings to really get into the rhythms of it. And I think part of that was because, I wasn't at the time a good student of Cold War history. I'm not now, but knowing having certain historical context in your pocket with Cold War history makes, I think, for really rewarding viewing with Dr. Strangelove. So once I got at least some semblance of that in my brain, watching Dr. Strangelove became this great experience over and over and over again. So. Let's see. Asteroid City. I watched Asteroid City fairly recently, actually. And actually, do I have it? I have it here. I have the Blu-ray here by sheer coincidence. So there you go. Yes, so Asteroid City. Eraserhead. Eraserhead is a film that means so much to me. For many reasons, and it's a film that is, I think, very mysterious and murky, and quite difficult in a wonderfully enriching way. And right, in heaven everything is fine. So let's see. Gosh, trial, Lars and the Real Girl. I've spoken about the trial, I think, in the context of the Criterion release. I think that's a really great, twisted film. Such a great film. No Country for Old Men, I think I've also spoken about elsewhere as well. So, big fan of the Coen brothers and No Country for Old Men, excuse me. Big fan of this one. So, but anyway, Dominic, let me, if it's okay, let me end it here. So, Dominic, thank you so much for this, and much appreciated. And you are a cinema lover, very evidently so. You have great taste, my friend. So keep it up. Keep up the great work with your cinema journey, wherever it takes you, wherever you choose to go along that ride. So, Dominic, thank you so much for this, and thank you very much to you and to all my Patreon friends out there. So thank you for your continued support. Really, really, thank you very much for your continued support. I appreciate it very much. Until the next video, my dear friends. So thank you. Stay strong, stay safe, and cheers. Thank you, Dominic, and thank you to everyone. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.